What is it you are playing for? What does it come with? Complete set. Everything you need. I've done war with all the Fixin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, on a Tuesday. Very special episode of Survivor with all the Fixins. Normally, we come to you on Thursdays after the episode, but we wanted to bring you a special episode this week featuring none other than Ryan Opray, a special guest who we had scheduled for 2 weeks back to comment on the season, but who we had to cancel for because I was down with the flu. Ryan's been dealing with some issues on his own, some health issues of the family. He is here with us tonight. No better timing possible. We can talk a little bit about Andrew Savage's rise and fall throughout the season. We could talk about second chances. We could talk about what's going on in the world of Survivor. But welcome to the podcast, Rhino.
Brother, how you been?
I've been good, man. I miss you.
Unfortunately, I had to move out of LA. My dad's been back up in NorCal and just helping the family out. I haven't been working, just keep maintaining the household, and it's scary, you know. One day you're doing okay, and the next second you're on your deathbed. So it's been a little rough on me. I mean, as you can tell, I look like, well, not Keith Richards yet, but I'm starting to get some bags.
Well, yeah, man, I've gone through some pretty heavy shit with my own father, health issues as well, and I know that it takes years off your life. I mean, it's really the toughest thing in the world to see your dad, the guy who you look up to more than anyone, and who's basically like a Superman in your eyes in a hospital bed.
Exactly.
And taking care of him, and the fact that you've been there for him around the clock and taking care of him, just, you know, it's the sort of guy you are. You know, you take care of your own. So.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been tough, but you know, I'll get back after it. You know, see where all the chips fall. You know, he's come back around, so I got a smile on my face. So I'm pretty happy about that.
That's good, man. Definitely praying for your dad, thinking a lot about him, hoping everything turns out for the best.
Let's talk about my other father, Andrew.
Let's talk about your real daddy. Now, have you been able to take some sort of solace, or at least find some distraction in this season?
Yeah, you know, watching the show, obviously, that's ever done Survivor is like, oh my God, I wish I could go back. And I'm sure for you, being there at the finale, being called up as one of the fan favorites, not getting enough votes to go, I'd rather be in the position I am to never get the opportunity or a call than sit there at the finale and Jeff go, sorry, Max, you're not going. But, you know, it's a great season, though. I'm glad I'm not on it. It looks like a complete shit show.
Yeah. Well, you know, to be perfectly honest, that makes two of us, because I watch what they're going through with the twists, the 2 tribes to 3, back to 2, the early merge, the hidden idols at the challenges. It's hard enough just to play Survivor.
Yeah, and you got to think about what moves you got once they start doing all this stuff, and then you got to think about moves down the line. Do you stay with your original alliance? Do you break up with them? Do you just, what Jeff said, like the voting blocks? How do you play the game? How do you meander your way through the game and stay alive? Because I don't think I do that well. I mean, this season, I don't think I do as good as I did in Pearl Islands. I mean, Andrew, same spot he did for Pearl Islands. He made the jury, obviously, but 21 days and 21 days. I mean, it's got to break his heart a little bit.
Well, you know, Andrew is someone who you are very close with and who you know, I mean, in a Survivor sense as well as anyone. Let's just start out with looking at his game from the perspective of this theme of second chances and evolution and change. Did his game change at all from the first time he played?
and he'll give me shit for this, but absolutely not. And I told him, I go, before you go out there, the game has evolved. It's faster. You're not about thirds and going out and doing stuff. You got to be able to get, and not, he needed to back. I told him to back off the leader role. And I go, the reason I made it further, I mean, I only made it a couple days longer than him in Pearl Islands, but I didn't take the leader role. We together were making all the decisions at the Morgan camp, and he didn't want to get rid of Lil. I did. I was like, we're keeping Dara. She's stronger. So I never made it a point to sit there and tell people, first of all, women are a lot smarter than guys are. And you can't go after a girl and just randomly say, oh, Sierra, so by the way, you're going to be voted for, but we're not voting. And it's like, dude, you could have just said any of the guys' names, and they're like, all right, dude, cool. But you do that, you're a target. New game, and it's, and people are lying and do it. It's like, I'd be stressed out. I mean, I'd be stressed big time if I was out there. I'll be honest about you, but all the stuff that's going, I can't even keep track. The game is playing at such a fast pace that I can't keep track.
So let's go back to that point you made about Andrew in the leader role. You said before he went back out there, you warned him against playing that way again. Any other advice that you gave him or insights? I mean, you have definitely stayed much more connected to the Survivor scene than Andrew has since your season. Yeah. So what did you do to help him get ready to go out there and play?
I actually didn't talk to him until maybe, say, he left, because I called him numerous times because it was either me or him that was going from Pearl Islands. And I was like, oh, did you get a call? A naive dummy. I'm like, well, maybe they haven't called me yet. So he's lying to me on the phone, and he's telling me, no, dude, I haven't gotten a call. And I'm at work. Finally, I blew up at him. I'm all, dude, Cass and I talked. You were in LA. Why didn't you just tell me? I could have helped you out. Because there was a ton of people that hit me up that were convinced I would be on this list for it's a second chance season. Like none of the Morgan guys had been back, or women. Pearl Islands is an extremely popular season.
Yeah. So
I kind of expected, to at least, something, at least him or I, or Burton. Well, Burton kind of did have a second chance, but and the thing is, I'm talking to the guy and he's lying to me and going, wow, dude, like the thing was, the reason I was kind of upset is me and him in Austin had a pact. No matter what CBS says, no matter, oh, well, you can't tell people you're doing this or doing that. We had a pact. And if one of us got called, we'd all, be like, hey, dude, we got a phone call and we're potentially going on the show. And he kind of broke that trust, and I was kind of pissed off at him. So in the 2 weeks beforehand, I didn't really, because I already had a group of people that I was already talking to, alliance-wise. And so basically, him not reaching out to me, it kind of cut it. And he doesn't watch the show, really, I don't think. I don't believe that. He just kind of went out there like he was playing Survivor again as a real, and he just played it the exact same way. And it's a different game. It's evolved. It's way faster. It's more of a fishbach style, So
it definitely is more of a fishbach style. And Andrew, in the pregame, but also in the early parts of the season, and right up through his last episode, he's really made a point about the fact that he doesn't trust Fishback. He wants Fishback out. Fishback is untrustworthy. Fishback has no ethics or morals. What did you make of his rivalry or his animosity toward Fishback?
I honestly didn't understand it. Maybe Fish has some other stuff. Like, well, you and I both know there's a lot of stuff that happens that we don't see. So maybe some stuff that didn't get aired, and Fishback was doing some weird, meandering too much, and talking too much gameplay, whatever. But Fishback had his back. I mean, he was his boy, and it was Jeremy, Andrew, and then potentially Joe, and Wigglesworth. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think keeping quiet. I think the fact that Joe told Wentworth and Sierra that it's one of those two, and Kelly, is like, wait, what? Well, I thought it was Fishback. So that whole thing with Joe, and I know Andrew is trying to protect Joe, and I get it, but it's like, dude, you can't protect everybody. So why, if there's an opportunity, to go and take some, well, Jeremy kind of probably screwed that up, but I don't know. There's a lot of layers to it. There was a lot of layers to what was going on. I think Andrew didn't have all the information he needed.
Did it in any way, Andrew's animosity toward Fishback, did it in any way remind you of how he responded to Skinny Ryan on your season?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Well, there's a strong parallel, I feel.
Yeah, and it makes it the worst part about it is Andrew comes off as this bully, and he's really not like that. He's the guy is a really nice guy. He's arrogant. He's cocky, but he just I think what it is maybe he had some Skinny Ryan paranoia. I don't know. I thought Ryan was fine, and I just think that some of the edit went down. We treated Ryan with respect. We really did. But the cameras and the editing, the way the editing goes, he kind of got hammered. And it's like Ryan in the first challenge and Lil were pulling the cannon. We weren't done with the challenge, and they're throwing their arms up. We won this. And here comes Drake with those horses, I mean, Rupert's a big-ass dude. And Burton's a big-ass dude, and so is Sean. So, and Krista, she's a big-ass dude.
She's a big-ass dude, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I love Krista. Like, she's a strong girl, They just – but I think his comment being a limp noodle was just out of, like, fuck, we lost that first challenge. Why, dude? Why were you doing that? So,
but it sort of, it sort of speaks to a deficiency, though, of Savage's game, which is Savage is great playing with guys who are just like him. So he's great playing with you, but he's not great playing with Skinny Ryan. He's great playing with Joe and Jeremy, but he's not great playing with Steven or Sierra.
And exactly. And you have to, like you're saying, as a player, if you're going to go back on the show, you have to evolve the way the game is. It caters more to the Sierras and the Stevens now. Whereas when we did it, when we played, it was a physically brutal. I'm not saying it's not physically brutal. What I'm saying is it catered more to somebody that was physical. But you have to have a social game. And I had a social game, and that's why at a certain point in the game, Chris is like, we need to get rid of Burton. And Fairplay goes, nope, talk to Rhino. He's untrustworthy. The only reason Fairplay wanted me out is because I was, besides Krista, I knew how to bullshit with people. I talked to everybody. And Andrew wouldn't do that. He wouldn't incorporate himself and talk to Lil and and I think it was his fault on this season. And he could have played a different game, but maybe he just got stuck into that role. And once you take onto that, grab onto that leader role, and you're just there, you can't let go of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is Savage's primary motivation in playing? Of course, he's the only one who really knows this, but what do you take to be his primary motivation for playing the game?
His primary motivation is redemption. That was it. He felt that we both got screwed by the outcast because we had put ourselves in a position to do very well, and he said a chance. And I don't really think he was playing to get to the end. I don't think he was. Certain situations happen where if his edit was bad, you know what I mean? Like he wanted to keep the Andrew Savage edit, the Ugan tribe. That kind of, you know what I mean? And not, it seemed like he lied, but it's like, it's a game of lying. It's this and that, but he didn't really, his social game with certain people just didn't mesh. He, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely true. He meshed incredibly well with some, but incredibly poorly with others, to the extent that by the time he was voted out, he was widely despised by the people on the bottom of the totem pole. The Sierras, the Wentworths, certainly Cass. I wouldn't say Abby so much, because Abby, I think, built up a little bit of a rapport with him and Tasha when they were together on Anchor. But it was strange, and it almost seemed like it came as a surprise to him that he, of all people, should be targeted by the women on the bottom, that he had in some way put himself, not Steven, not Jeremy, not Tasha, not anyone else, that it was him who had somehow become the target of all of their ire. And it was, you know, you almost saw that realization dawn on him in real time at Tribal Council when they read, when Jeff read the first vote that said, you know, Savage or Andrew. He was like, excuse me? Like, he had no idea that he was even someone who could potentially have a vote thrown their way.
Yeah. And I think that all stemmed from the first thing when Sierra threw a vote his way.
Yeah.
You know, the first, which was kind of bizarre. She just kind of threw a vote, like a shot across the bow, meaning, I'm coming for you. Realize that. And why wouldn't he focus on splitting the votes and trying to get Sierra out? Well, how many were there?
9
12,
of them.
Right?
There were 9 in the alliance with Savage, and the 3 women voting against him.
Okay, so basically you got 12, right? You split the vote. It's either going to be Sierra, Wentworth, or Andrew. So Wentworth throws Idol out. Can't vote for Wentworth anymore. She's good. You got to revote because it's 4 and 4, right? It's 4 Sierra, 4 Andrew, right?
It would have only been 3 Andrew.
Oh, it would have been 3 Andrew. Yes,
it would have been. They just would have sent Sierra home.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. You know, I know things that I can't talk about, but there was a reason behind it, which it's the dumbest thing in the world. It just they all agreed. They kind of.
Sorry, a reason for not splitting the vote. Now, the reason that was given in the press was Andrew said, we were exhausted. I had an infected spider bite. I just didn't have the energy to pull it off. And the week before, or the vote before, when we had split the vote, it had required hours and hours of planning and machinations. You're suggesting there's another reason.
I just think they just, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I just think they clearly weren't listening to one person that you and I both know. But anyways,
so someone warned them and they didn't listen.
Somebody else was like, hey, you know what? You guys need to think about this. Just nope. Wentworth doesn't have it. Nope. And then this other person had said, absolutely not. She doesn't have it, but knew she had it. And that's what happened.
So you think someone out there knew that Wentworth had the idol, but didn't want to come out and say it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's shocking.
Yeah.
And that's $1 million.
Which is great. I mean, I wish I don't hear this kind of stuff, but I end up hearing it through the grapevine, and I'm like, damn. Well, so somebody was out to get Savage.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love you as a guest on this show, and I just love talking to you about Survivor in general. You always have a different perspective on things. You always have the ear to the grapevine, and you're always hearing the grumbling. And one thing you learn about the Survivor world really quickly when you become a part of it, there is always more to the story than meets the eye.
Yeah. And it's, it's editing and everything else. And first and foremost, CBS and SEG, they have to create a television show.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I was absolutely bummed that, I mean, that's my buddy. I mean, we were tight in Pearl Islands. But I even said to people, I go, I know it's because a lot of people hit me up, so damn cut, like that was ruthless. And I was like, but think about it I'm a fan first and foremost. And even if it was me playing the game and I got punked like that, I'd be like, damn, that was good. Like it was good. It was a sweet tribal council. That's a good move.
It was an amazing move and high drama. And it was an amazing comeuppance for Savage, too, because he truly was acting as if he were the godfather, the man behind the scenes who were pulling this, don't worry, you'll be fine. You're safe with me. We're going to get out Fishback. He's untrustworthy. Everything Savage said had so much gravitas. It'll be the most unprecedented move in Survivor history. Everything's so weighty. Now, here's a question I have for you about Savage, knowing him. How do you think he takes this experience? How do you think, because I've been actually pleasantly surprised and impressed by his classiness in the exit press, where he's, he said, listen, I was a hypocrite. I lied to people, but then I called them out when they lied to me. It was the game. But how do you think he takes a disappointment like this? Because he is a guy who's extremely competitive, and he is a guy who's prideful, and he is a guy who's used to succeeding.
I think we had similar views on it, and he got his redemption. And I think it was, if he lasted 3 days, 15 days, whatever it may be, I think, well, it was pretty brutal on him. I mean, 4 different tribes. I mean, it was pretty beat down. It was like Morgan tribe all over again. I mean, he's getting his butt beat. I mean, it can't be. He's got to be like, well, what's wrong with me? Like Russ Swan, remember when he came back and he couldn't figure out why? He's like, oh Jesus, and Jeff's like, maybe it isn't God, maybe it's you. That you're just not winning. Like, it has nothing to do with that. But I think he found his closure. And he told me, he goes, I honestly would never, even if they asked me back, I'd never go back. Brutal. He said it was 3 times harder than Pearl Islands. Not the elements so much. I mean, it did rain a lot and it was brutal, and the bugs and all that. But he had actually said it was too much, not thinking, but too much strategies. And you didn't have a second to like lay down on the shelter to be, is somebody talking about me? And so you get all paranoid. But
now they've made it a tremendous amount this season of the old school versus new school dichotomy. What do you make of this? Do you buy it?
I think there's a lot of focus on that, and sadly, the new school seems to be handling the old school. I think the old school is kind of like, wait, what's happening? It's a little bit too fast of a pace. So it's I don't know. I think I honestly, I think that it would be a little rough for me in the beginning if I was to play that kind of new school way, but I'd catch up to it because I've been watching all you guys. Like, I watch, super fan of the show. Like, I would love to see a guy like Heidick. Like, if they were to have like a Survivor old school versus new school versus the middle school or whatever, a guy like Heidick comes back versus Tony and Russell, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 30 players and just have this knockdown, drag out, characters. And I mean, everybody hates Heidick, but even like Chris Daughtry from season 9, like there's some great players that have just been kind of passed by. And I think that I'd like to see them as a fan play this new school type. People's dominating. They're kicking old school's ass. And I hate to say that, but that's a reality.
Who do you think from the old school would adapt well to this new game?
I actually believe Wigglesworth is. right now. Are you talking about on the show, or are you talking about?
I was talking about in general. I love the idea of people like Chris Daughtry and Brian Heidick playing again. Who else do you think could succeed?
Both those two would do good.
Yeah, Chris Daughtry is like one of those people who's extremely underrated. He was playing a new school game back in season 9. And Brian Heidick, of course, many fans consider him to be one of the most ruthlessly effective social gamers of all time, or strategic gamers, I guess. Kind of brutal social gamer. But who else do you see? Are there other people that you see or you think from your season, from some of those early seasons, who you'd like to see come back?
Besepia was phenomenal. Somebody like even Sean Rector. Season 9, I'm trying to think besides Chris. Not too many people on there. Season 10.
Get Julie Berry back, maybe?
I just don't think Julie played that good of a game. I love Julie. I think she's awesome. I thought she played a fairly decent game, but I think she should have already been back on like a fans versus favorites type of deal or something. I actually would love to see Ian play. Wouldn't you? I'd love to see that kid come back.
I don't think there's a fan who wouldn't like to see Ian play again. I think, though, that in terms of long shots for people who are extremely unlikely to ever consider coming back, he's probably at the top of that list.
Oh, really? Jamie Newton. Newton's another one. He would be one of those guys that's like a Shane Powers. Like, we need Jamie versus Shane to just cause chaos. You know what I mean? Be a paranoia. Anybody you can think of? Even Brian Corden. He's a master.
I'm definitely a huge Brian Corden fan. I would love to see Brian come back. Brian was one of the first guests we had on the podcast, and he's just a great guy. So smart, so funny, and loves Survivor and has a really unique perspective on it. I mean, at this point, it's interesting to see, we've gotten to the point where I think someone once pointed out that half of the Australia cast has come back.
Yeah, right.
That we're digging deep into Borneo. We've got a lot of those people who've come back. Obviously there are some seasons where Greg Buis, yes, of course. Yeah. That's the other, along with Ian. I think Greg Buis is sort of the fans' holy grail for people to come back.
And honestly, Kobe, definitely Kobe Archer, and John Carroll from season 4 Marquesas.
I would say that there's a strong chance if there's another second chance season that we'll see one or both of them in the mix. What did you think about this list in general? We talked a little bit earlier, and you said, when you heard that the second chance theme was a possibility, you thought maybe you'd get a ring. What did you think about the list of people they put together? Who did you think was missing? Who were you surprised to see on that list?
I was kind of surprised. I love Natalie. I think she's a great person. She's absolutely stunning to look at. That girl is absolutely gorgeous. But I think her gameplay was just hanging out with Boston Rob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that said, there's a person named Amber whose gameplay was hanging out with Boston Rob, who ended up pulling off a pretty major victory. So I think that from what I understood, the concept behind a Natalie Tenorelli was, could she be the new Amber? Could she be the sort of person who went from being almost nothing in her first season to maturing and being really effective in her second season?
Which a lot of people want to see. I'm okay with that. I think, you have to have certain people. I don't know why. Yule's on my mind right now. I don't know why. But I would love to see a guy like Yule, Earl.
We're excluding winner. We're excluding winners at this point from the second chance theme. But Earl and Yule, both, two of the more dominant winners. two winners who are also considered to be, and this is not by me, but by some fans, to be boring players, but deadly effectiveness in terms of their control.
Oh my God. Absolutely. I mean, Earl, his back was against the wall. I mean, he meandered all the way to the end when the other tribe was dominant. I mean, they just kicked their ass. And Yule, I mean, it was Yule. Who else? Michelle Yee, I think, and one other person, and they just kept winning, as soon as that mutiny happened. But sorry, I didn't mean to get off track. It was
no. So yes, back to the topic at hand. Some people who you were either surprised weren't on the list or surprised were on the list for the second chance vote. I
mean, I actually didn't know, like Jim Rice. I didn't even know his name. I was like, Jim. I had to look him up. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. But when you have to do that, then that's a problem. But I know that mixing all those people in there together, it would have been good. Like Shane Powers not making it, and Brad Culpepper, and like I was like, whoa, dude. Like I love Terry and Andrew to death, but I would have rather seen Culpepper and Powers. You know what I mean?
What did you make of Shane not getting the nod? I was shocked. I mean, most people were.
I was about as shocked as you were, because I looked at your face and I was like, oh, my eyes were like, wait a minute, what?
I think my words, I put my hands to my mouth and I said, bullshit. I screamed bullshit on national television because when I heard the concept of the season, first and foremost on my mind was not, oh, I'm going to go play again, but, oh, great, I'm going to get to watch Shane on TV next season.
Yeah, I was in disbelief. And I guess Abby became Shane. I guess they figured that they could get enough out of Abby.
Yeah. We definitely did get a lot out of Abby those early episodes.
Powers was just, hey, hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, Powers was just like, I was in shock. I was in complete disarray at that point. I'm all, this is bullshit. This is fake. It's for TV. It's drama. That's what I was thinking to myself.
Any other people who made it into the cast or didn't make it who you were surprised about?
I mean, Sierra, I guess, making it. I mean, I knew everybody voted on, but I'm definitely a type of person that's a physical competitor, and my strategy and social game and stuff comes secondary, which that needs to change if I happen to go back, because I need to get really out of shape and just be a slob and just manipulate people. but the fact is, like, Sierra, I don't know. I just didn't see it. I was like, oh, okay. She doesn't really help in the challenges. She doesn't really do anything around camp. She doesn't help out, or all she does is talk. So I was a little confused by her being there. But then you need people that talk shit.
Has she changed your opinion at all with her strong gameplay this season?
Has she what now? You cut out.
I said, has she changed your opinion at all with her strong gameplay this season? I mean, arguably, she is the reason, more so than Kelly Wentworth, why Savage is gone.
Yeah. I mean, the games cater to weaker players. I'm going to be honest. I don't respect the fact that somebody goes out and you could sit on your ass, not build a shelter, not get firewood. I mean, people that don't actually physically play the show, and they don't understand what a toll on you physically, whereas a guy like you or I that's physical, that's doing stuff and working and doing this and that, and you get somebody that's sitting around all the time and not competing in challenges, and of course your strategy, you're going to be able to talk. Sierra, you've been sitting in tribal council blabbing your mouth because you don't do anything. So I think that she has changed a little bit, but it's the same thing. She jumped from Tyson and F you guys, I'm going with Hayden and Caleb, right? So I just think that it's just a different show, and I'm never going to respect that as a player. I just won't. It's not the Kardashians. We're not watching a reality television show. It's Survivor. It's a physical game. That's all. It's the game that I love that's kind of gone a little sideways.
Well, whose game have you respected so far this season?
Actually, and a lot of people will be shocked, Spencer. I'm digging it. Like he has, I mean, he talked to Cass, and they kind of squashed things, and the kid's playing a phenomenal game. And Fishbach, he's not going to sit there and he's not counsel kind of unloading on people, but the guy is actually, when it's confessionals, when a guy cries, and I know this sounds cheesy, but the guy wants to win so bad, you got to clap your hands and stand up and cheer for the guy, because he's trying to do whatever. Yes, it's Joe's nemesis, whatever. He thinks he can't win against him at the end, but damn, that guy, Fishbach, I'll give you a clap right now. Like, dude, you're getting after it. I respect that. Like, he's getting after it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, let's see, who else? I mean, I hate to say it, but Wentworth, that's some magic. Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't follow up on one of the names that you mentioned. You said Spencer talked to Cass. Now, you and Cass have publicly exchanged words on Twitter. I know that you probably have some opinions about the game she played. What did you make of Cass's season?
It was.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up. Hold on a sec. You're breaking up. This is horrible timing for you to break up. Oh boy.
Am I
Ryan,
there?
hold on a sec. We've got no audio from you.
Are we fading now?
Yeah, this is one of those instances where Mark Burnett is training the signal jammer on our connection. He does not want the truth to come out.
No way talking about Cass.
Okay, try again. Let's start from the top, because as soon as you opened your mouth, the signal cut out. Now, what did you make of Cass's game this season?
Really didn't think she changed at all. I think she could have put Chaos back off a little bit and not get so, and she would have made it probably further in the game. But as soon as it was almost like, okay, Savage is at a disadvantage. Let's go after him. Or Tasha is at a disadvantage. I'm going to use that to my advantage and go after Tasha. Well, everybody knew Tasha wasn't going to flip on the alliance, and she just tried to make this big scene, in the camp where Kimmy even was like, wait, what the hell's going on? This makes no sense. And even Keith and Andrew are like, what's, if she backed off a little bit, I understand you're on the bottom. You can find track without being an asshole, and it seemed like she just took it to a next. So, I'm in the sand, Tasha. And Tasha's like, what is this here? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
It's cutting out a little bit. All right. So I think that her going at Tasha, and, she just didn't really change her game. Her game was the exact same thing as she did, the first time around.
Talk a little bit about, we're jumping around in terms of the timeline of this season. Back to the pregame. Mm-hmm. Some of the interactions you had with folks who were in this cast. You and I sat down and definitely spoke. We went out for margaritas. That was a good afternoon. We saw Will Smith. We saw the guy from Ghost. We saw So Kim. We saw lots of people we knew walking up and down the Santa Monica Promenade that day.
We were in it to win it.
In it to win it. 3-game alliances. Now, talk a little bit, though, about what you were doing in that pregame period. And obviously, I respect the fact that you might not be able to disclose everything and name all names. But what did you see? What did you do? What did you hear through the grapevine? Give us a little insight into that pregame process.
Well, Cass hit me up and started talking about, I know who your alliances are, all this stuff. And she was talking about me being, there was a Twitter person that was Casa de Culpepper or something that which I think was her the whole time. And then she tried playing it off on me and trying to get Hayden out of the game because I guess Culpepper, Michaela, Hayden, somebody else. Did I say Terry? I think they all met up in Tampa to do this thing and take the old school out and then Kagayan out. And then, they just had all this pregame stuff going on.
So there was some sort of summit at the Culpepper compound in Tampa with the purpose of taking out the old school, taking out the Cagayan folks.
Yeah.
And that involved, you believe, the Culpeppers, Brad, some of the Blood versus Water people. Can I? Assume?
Yeah, it was Blood versus Water. Hayden. Now, somebody asked me to ask you what happened with Hayden. And Hayden wasn't allowed to do it. What's that?
Let me find the exact question.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going through all these questions. Telling me he looked like a young Robbie Williams when he was on Pearl Islands. This is from Please PM Me Uranus or Uranus. I don't know.
I love it.
Ask Rhino what he did to screw Hayden, his words, and what other things he knows about the second chance ballot and how they interacted with each other beforehand and who got cut and why. And also, you should do these earlier. 8 p.m. is 11 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. Uranus, I'm sorry. We're working here with people's schedules. People have a lot going on. Ryan's taking care of his dad. I have a job.
I've been busy with a sick dad and stuff like that. I didn't mean to make you stay up too late.
Yes, sorry. Listen, have a Red Bull. This is worth staying up for. So talk a little bit about Hayden.
The whole Hayden thing. I was fucking with Kat. He hates me thinking I got Hayden out. Well, guess what? Everybody knows Hayden's way more important to either Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing Race than I am. Hayden's like a golden child. That was blown out of context. And the whole Hayden thing was CBS didn't think it was fair because he was already on Big Brother. So that was it would be kind of weird to have a second chance with the guy that was our logic for what I was told. So Cass decided to post this all over Twitter and say that I was Casa de Culpepper and I got out. Well, guess what, fans of the show? I never tried getting Hayden out. I was telling her what she wanted to hear. She was badgering me for alliances, this shout stuff. And she was being shady, and I was giving her honest information that I didn't have an alliance. And she's like, you had pregame alliances and this and that. I wasn't going to tell her, shit, of course I had pregame alliances. I didn't know if I was getting called or not, but I didn't want to go out there with 20 other people, and they knew me, and they're all, hey, Rhino, we already have an alliance. Sorry about that. Bye. You're out of here. I'm not going to go play a game for $1 million and not try to salvage something. I'm good friends with Wigglesworth. Obviously, I'm good friends with Savage. Max and I talked. Terry and I talked. I talked to Shane Powers. Varner called me. Terry called me. Numerous people were calling me and hitting me up or contacting me. Michaela hit me up. She's like, hey, are you here in LA? I trust you. You want to be in line. So I wasn't going after this. The only person that I really wanted to talk to was Andrew, and he kind of blew me off until he left. But me thinks that I got Hayden off the fucking show is fucking delusional. If you guys believe that, or if I tried to do, I was fucking around with Cass, and Cass loves to fucking cause problems. Chaos Cass. I live in Kern County. I'm an attorney, and I'm gonna fucking cause problems for everybody. I just don't really care about it, and I didn't even want to address it. I was trying to take the high road, but she decided to host. Was back in April? Like, what a fuckhead. But I mean, I'm gonna see her at the finale. I'm gonna talk to her and be like, there's stuff that I know about you that did so, and I can't talk about that because I don't want to legally get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble, but some shit was said that was really fire, and she knows it.
Some stuff was said, I'm sorry, that was what? You broke
really
up.
Out of line that I can't. Oh, it was really out of line that I really can't discuss.
Is this in the game or was this preseason?
Yeah, in the game that was not aired, and it was something that was really out of line. But so my friends told me, but I'm not going to sit there and tattletale, and you know what I mean. It was way the fuck out of line that she said to some other castmate. So
this is not something that was in the show.
No, she's a fuckhead, and I mean, whatever. Fans can hate me or they can like me. I don't really care. I mean, they bring me back on a rival season with her, I'd be fine with that because her ass would get voted out faster than her eyes could fucking see. Well, you know me, Max. I don't like shit talkers.
Well, I'll tell you what. You say fans might not like me. Well, I don't think that's the case, and I'll tell you one thing that's for sure. Former Survivor contestants definitely are loud and clear about how they feel about you. You're one of the best connected people in the scene. You know people from the old seasons. You know people from the new seasons. You're kind of a hub through whom a lot of these connections take place. And so I know that from my own standpoint, when I knew I was in the mix for this season, it was like, have you talked to Rhino yet? Whether you were on the list or not, you were someone I had to talk to because you were the gateway to the early seasons. You were the gateway to some of the more recent seasons because you're in LA, you're in the industry, you're connected to all the Survivor people, socially, professionally. So definitely, I know that for me, talking to you, not only did it open up a lot of other connections, but it definitely gave me a little insight into the whole process and just made me feel a little bit more equipped to deal with what I was dealing with.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I don't want to be that guy because if I do go back, I should do is just get a Target shirt.
Do you want me to cut that out? I could edit that out. How about this? Let me re-record. Rhino has no connections to anyone. No one likes him. He's pretty much isolated. He's pretty much a pariah. And if he ever were voted back in, no one would want to align with him.
And if you have a chance, he's worthless. Take him to the end. Take him to the final three.
Yeah, I mean, like, he blew
nobody will vote for him to win.
He got a blown out knee. He's way past his prime. I mean, he used to look like young Robbie Williams. Now he looks more like Robin Williams.
Yes, exactly.
The guy is pretty much washed up. Is that better?
Yeah, that works. This
cool.
works perfectly.
We'll put that in. Sorry.
Okay.
Listen, we've talked about this season enough. You are a repository for great stories about Survivor. Now, whether or not you can name names or if you just want to give me blind items and say, a Survivor from an old season, give us some stories, some behind the scenes stories, some of the gossip that the rumors, the legends that have been circulating around the show that firsthand whether or not they're true.
Oh God. And fans might not be into this, but I never found out who it was, but I heard there was a dream teamer or a couple of for fans. Hold on. Let me back up.
Okay.
Sorry. Dream Team, basically what would happen is they'll get a guy that's similar to me or Max, the same in height or whatever, and do the challenge, whatever it may be, and they'll shoot the legs or they'll show. That's what you guys see in the beginning of the show.
They're essentially
so
our doubles.
There are doubles. So they're like stand-ins kind of, but they supposedly there were a couple of Dream Teamers in the middle seasons that were on earlier seasons that were actually worked on earlier seasons that made it on. That's probably my golden ticket.
Really?
And nobody, I know, I've been trying for years to find this out, and nobody will give me any info. Now everyone's like tight-lipped. No, like I know a lot of people. I'm like, dude, were you a Dream Teamer? Were you a Dream Teamer? But I've heard that a couple Dream Teamer, I don't know how many, but I know like maybe a couple girls and guys, you know, something like that.
So
that's some cool stuff.
So this is before your season. Before your season.
I believe that they were a Dream Teamer before my season and made, say, Panama, Guatemala, Fiji, middle of the road.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the case anymore.
Are you saying that
I don't know. This is just
Bruce Guy was a Dream Teamer?
Yes.
Bob Dog was Bob Dog a Dream Teamer?
Bob Dog. No, not Bob Dog. Shane Powers.
Shane Powers was a Dream Teamer.
Yes.
He got his start on season 3, running the challenges. You heard it here first.
He was on season 3, and him and he was Teamer.
He was Diane Ogden's Dream Team double.
He was Diane's Dream Team.
He was Deb Eaton's Dream Team.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where I heard it a long time ago, and I was like, really? And I never. And then nobody at SCG is going to admit to that kind of stuff, but that's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
It is. It would be really fascinating to find out who it was. Any more recent stories from the more recent seasons? I mean, up until recently, you've been in LA. You're plugged into the scene. Yeah. Has there been any interesting stories? Any kind of salaciousness that you've been privy to that you can enlighten us about? Again, without necessarily naming names, but just stories that people will appreciate just hearing some of the behind the scenes.
Dude, right now I'm drawing a blank. I mean, I don't know. There's some stuff I think if I thought about it, I could come back and do another episode, maybe when some other people that I know are getting voted out. Yeah.
Well, listen, you're welcome anytime. You've got an open invitation to come on. We'll always make time for you.
It's better than Rob Has a Podcast, because I still have no invitation for that.
Well, listen, that's Rob's loss. That's Rob's loss in our game.
No, Rob's great, dude. He's actually asked me numerous times, and I actually did it a few times way back in the day, but I was going to do a Pearl Islands one, and then I didn't end up doing it. It was going to be the whole cast of Pearl Islands. We're going to do, and I think he got Sandra, Rupert, and Johnny to do it out of all of us. So they just nobody ended up doing it. Sorry, Rob.
Speaking about Pearl Islands, tell us a story about Pearl Islands that maybe you haven't told before, or that people might not know.
Let's see. Trying to think of something not so R-rated. Something that would be actually pretty.
No, please tell the R-rated.
This is a good one, but I've talked about it before. I guess there was a mutiny. Was it Thailand? Was Thailand the mutiny? The first mutiny was either Thailand or Marquesas or something. Anyways, it was offered to us. So we're in episode 3. It was episode 3. I can't remember exactly. Well, anyways, we're standing on the beach. Jeff's looking at us, and he goes, "Guys, so here's the deal. At this point in the game, if you want, you can switch tribes. if you want a mutiny. And we're so stupid. Like, all of us as a group could have just, the Morgans, there was 5 of us. So yeah, it had to been episode 4. So it was right before an immunity challenge. And I go, dude, all we had to do is walk, the 5 of us, walk over and be a merged tribe right then and there. Right then and there. And Jeff wouldn't, I mean, he's like, hey, if you want to. So anyways, I look over at Sean and Michelle, and Sean and Michelle are on the app voted out. So it would have been episode 5, right? Isn't that right? Yeah, episode 5. So Burton had just got on, and Michelle knew their days are numbered. And Austin and Probst goes, hey, Austin, Rhino, what do you think about these? Probst just straight calls it out. And this didn't make it to air, but Jeff basically goes, what about these 2? I look, they're cool. They're more than welcome to join us. Austin goes, absolutely. Andrew says, anybody coming over here is going to be voted out at the next tribal council. And I'm like, oh my God, he killed us. We're fucked. This fucking guy. I looked at Andrew, and he had the look on his face. He was like, oh shit. But in his interviews, he's like, dude, he's like, honestly, don't remember that. And I go, you, me, OT, Dara, and Tawana need to sit down and have a conversation about your amnesia, because at that point we could have had Sean and Michelle, and we would have dominated them.
Yeah.
We would have beat them up.
Is that selective amnesia? Is that him sort of rewriting history? Why do you think Savage denies that was a
what
possibility?
Would you do? Well, Max, what would you do? It wasn't aired.
Listen, you own your mistakes.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a couple of times I made mistakes out there that didn't get shown. And, Jeff had said to us, one of the challenges, we were so far behind in the challenge. Oh, no, it was the chest. I think it was a chest challenge. We had to put shit in the chest and then bring the chest back up. And he goes, at tribal council, he goes, you guys were so far behind. If I didn't stop, if they didn't, you guys would still be out there. And I was laughing so hard at that point. But, you do have to own it. And I don't think he owned it. And I don't think he's going to admit to it. He did. I'm proud of him for admitting he's a hypocrite and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, he's a fucking Yahoo lawyer. Like, does he need $1 million? Not really. He just kind of, he's in for the experience and stuff. Yeah. But that mutiny would have been, God, who would have known what was there? Would there have been an outcast if the mutiny happened? Who knows? What a great fucking game to play, though. Am I right? Yeah. I mean, all the twists and the turns. I mean, I got beat up. I'd fucking give my left arm to go do it again.
Let me go with another listener question. Yes. This is from Hell's Wind Staff on Reddit. I'd like to know the raunchiest or not safe for work story from Ryan O involving survivors, like Big Tom and Fair Play with hookers raunchy. I know he has to have one.
Did my video go out? Shit.
Your video went out, but I can still hear you.
Okay. So I'm going to take the fifth on that one because I know a lot of them.
Oh,
I don't want to get myself in trouble right now.
How about you could tell the story? You could just say a survivor from an early season, and you don't have to name it.
Fair Play trying to get trannies, you mean? Like in Pasadena when we're at the people's...
Excuse me? You cut out there. So that again, Fair Play trying to, excuse me?
Get some trannies. People's Choice Awards.
Whoa.
Because you're funky, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Funky is the word.
Yeah. I know for a fact that he will never admit that. And I fucking think it's the funniest thing in the world. Like, I'm all, what do you want? What? And he's a wild man.
So he
I don't know. Maybe Maybe he hung out with Eddie Murphy at one point. Who knows?
Yeah. I listen, he was big for a while. He might have been over at Eddie's house. They might have hung out. Any other not safe for work stories that you could share? You don't have to name names.
Let's see. Trying to think here. I can't think of any. I think the fair play thing was just such an impact thing. But Mickey Rourke sleeping on his couch for a number of weeks, which was kind of interesting. Because they would party together and sleeping on fair play's couch. And
really?
Yeah, and he lived right there, Runyon Canyon. And I come over one day and there's Mickey Rourke laying on the couch, and he's like, "Hey man, what's up?" Like just fucking cashed out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell?
You'd expect it to be the other way around, where Fairplay would be sleeping on some celebrity's couch, kind of a Kato Kalin situation, as opposed to vice versa.
Stephanie is watching. Rhino, you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. Really, to contact Savage after it's voted out. Not voted out.
Stephanie. Wow. Stephanie who?
Oh, Stephanie Savage.
Uh-oh. What did she say?
Uh-oh. She's mad at me right now.
At what? What was?
Didn't I say? Wait, hold on. Bother to contact Savage after it was voted out, and then you go in YouTube and talk shit. I hope it was worth your extra.
No,
it was never out of you. I never said that.
Stephanie, if Stephanie and or Andrew are listening, Ryan hasn't said anything.
I never said that. I said it was beforehand.
He has not said anything in any way unflattering toward Andrew. We talked about how Andrew played a game that was oriented by honor and honesty, and that he played that way to a fault. I have not said a single thing about him that's in any way derogatory or condescending.
Bother to contact. I'm confused. I go on YouTube and talk shit. I don't think I was saying anything bad. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Not at all. Not at all. And listen, people can go back.
I'm a little confused by that. I don't know.
People can go back and listen to the earlier parts of this interview if they have any ambiguity.
No, I just said that I was pissed off because we made a fucking pact. Stephanie, if you're listening, Austin, Andrew, and I made a pact, and he didn't fucking call me. So I don't understand where she's coming up with about me being voted out. Or I mean, about him being voted out that I contact. I'm so confused by this. I don't know.
Well, hopefully they're
extra 5 minutes of fame. Yes, Max is my friend, and he wanted to talk about Andrew being voted out. So I talked about his gameplay, and he didn't change his gameplay. So I don't get that.
Hopefully this misunderstanding will be straightened out, because you not said anything from my standpoint that in any way impugns Andrew's gamer character. You simply suggested that he's played very similarly to the way he did the first time, and that the same qualities that make him a great guy and a great friend to you are some of the qualities that worked against him in the game.
Wait, wow, Andrew's really pissed off. So, yeah,
why?
He's mad. I don't know. Well, he said I called him cocky in there.
Did you?
I don't remember. I remember saying, did I say cocky and arrogant? I
don't believe so, but
anyways, yeah, you did lie to me, Andrew, because we had a fucking huge argument on the phone. I don't quite understand where this is going. So we had an agreement. We had a fucking pact, you, me, and Austin. So if you're watching, we had a fucking pact, and you were supposed to call me if you were contacted. And you fucking didn't do it, and I didn't give you any alliances that I had. So that's the way it was. Well, whatever. They're all pissed off at me now because I tell it like it is.
Well,
I'm confused. I called him cocky and arrogant. When did that happen?
I don't recall. Listen, we could go back and listen to the tape from our earlier conversation, but my recollection is, as I said, you described Andrew's game as being similar to his game the first time. You said that he didn't have it in him to sort of play the lying, fast-paced, new school game. You suggested that he played a game that was honorable, that he tried to play with people who were like him or shared his values. I think these are all accurate assessments. You never said he was cocky. If perhaps I suggested that he was here or in another episode, Stephanie, Andrew, hopefully you understand. We're providing commentary on the game.
The leader role. I don't remember. I said not to play the leader role, and he played this. You did play the same game. I don't know why he's getting so fired up.
You know what?
I don't get it. I don't like it when people, try to call me out on stuff and flip out on me for no reason. So if I said something that they thought was out of line or whatever, I don't.
Well, I'll say that in my own experience, it's really tough to watch your friends play and then be asked to comment on it. Earlier in the season, I had a situation similar to the one you're finding yourself in right now, where people wanted to ask my opinion on Shireen's game. And I gave my honest opinion. And I said that I was disappointed to see that she went out from similar circumstances to the ones that we experienced in our first time playing. And that, I basically suggested she played the same way and that's what ended up resulting in her going home. And yeah, it did cause me a lot of grief and it cost me a friendship. And I'm still hopeful that one day we'll be able to work things out and reconcile. But, this is something that you and I don't have experience with. We have experience with being on our side of watching our friends play and then being asked to offer commentary on it. We don't have experience with being the person who went out there and played again and then had someone who they trusted or someone who they considered to be an ally, analyzing them in the media. And in some ways, it's it's a better position to be in the one that you and I are in, where we didn't have to go out there and risk our reputations and put it all on the line again. But at the same time, it is a tough position for us to be in because we're rooting for our friends. I was rooting for Shireen. You were rooting for Savage. I know that over the course of the season, you and I were in contact many times, and you talked about how excited you were to see him playing and squeaking out of some tough situations. You wanted to see him do well, but of course you had an opinion on the factors that led to him going out. Yeah. And you're entitled to that opinion.
Is it maybe he's pissed off that, he had told me he wanted to go out there for a second chance for a redemption. He never said anything about wanting to win the game. I know the guy's a competitor and wants to win the game, but I don't know. I don't know where this is all coming from. And if I slipped up, who was I talking about where I said cocky and arrogant?
I do not recall those words coming out of your mouth earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, something happened, and it is what it is. We'll hash it out from here and figure this whole thing out.
Well, hey, I apologize if this conversation has caused you to get into any sort of trouble with a good friend of yours, but at the same time, I want to thank you for your candor, because while I don't think you've been in any way harsh or unsympathetic to Andrew or anyone else who's been out there, you have been brutally honest. And that's what counts. I mean, that's why I wanted to have you on here in the first place. And that's why people want to hear your true sense, because you're not going to just give the SEG party line. You're not just going to, parrot the edit. You're not going to just say what the Dalton Rosses or the other press mouthpieces are saying, you're gonna give it to us the way you see it.
I mean, I'm watching it from a fan perspective. Yeah, I want him or any one of my friends to win the game, but it's like I got a lot of my friends giving me shit for the way how I played in Pearl Islands. I didn't react the way that reacting, so I don't know.
Well, hey,
such is life.
Such is life.
Yeah, and been interesting year for me, and I don't really care to tell everybody what's been going on, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah. Well, you're dealing with a lot, and I really appreciate you taking time out to talk with us tonight. It's been illuminating in many ways. To wrap up, just give us your thoughts about what the season still has in store. Who's in a good position? Who do you see in a place to take it to the end?
Spencer. I think as far as like gameplay, the kid's he's playing a totally different game, and I think Joe, he could do well if he's smart enough to manipulate his way and play more of a social game. And obviously, like Jeremy and Fishbach, those guys. So I don't know. I think that's about it. And Wigglesworth is getting Wigglesworth. She's getting a really a Brenda Lowe edit, so you never know how that's going to go.
Any chance that can turn on a dime and we see her making a run?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, she could do well. She could do down the stretch, and she could be playing the game that she wanted to play and just swoop in at the end. But you never know.
Yeah. Well, still a lot of Survivor ahead of us. A lot remains to be seen about how this season will turn out. Already some twists and turns that nobody expected, including last week's vote. I think that, I think I had Andrew ranked number 4 in my power rankings. And I think I said something along the lines of Andrew's not going anywhere for a long time. I thought that he was in a position to be running this game. I thought that Sierra, Abby, and Kelly were just going to be picked off one by one, and then it would be a pretty boring season. But suddenly there's new hope. And, unfortunately it came at Andrew's expense, but we're seeing this season become a little unpredictable. And I know I'll be watching closely and excitedly, and I know you will be too.
Yeah, I definitely will be. It's interesting. We'll see how it pans out.
Well, Ryan, thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody make sure you follow Ryan on Twitter. It's SpearmintRhino7. Anything else you want to plug while you're with us, Ryan?
No, we're good, buddy. I appreciate it.
Very good.
Finally got together for an interview.
Definitely, man. I've been bugging you since I was asked to host this podcast. You were one of the first people that I started bugging for an interview, and I'm glad we actually got to have it. Best wishes to your dad, and thank you again so much for taking the time out to join us. Everybody, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the On the Block Podcasting Network on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. If you're listening at this point, all 22 of you, that includes Jeff Probst and Stephanie Savage. If you're not following me at FY Maxwell, I don't know who you are. You must have clicked on this link on accident. But thank you again for staying with us. Programming note, this Thursday, we will be back live at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern, for those of you who have to go to bed. Our guest, none other than Colton Cumbie. So from Rhino to Colton Cumbie, what other podcast gives you that? On behalf of Ryan Opray, On behalf of the On the Block Podcasting Network, I am your host, Max Dawson. Thank you for tuning in to Survivor with all the Fixins. Bye-bye.